Rituals to help you resolve lawsuits and bring more abundance into your life. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy. On this channel, we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Now, I'm going to share with you a ritual I learned from my shaman on how to help you resolve lawsuits and bring more abundance into your life. But first, let me talk about how I got to this point. Because when I tell some of my friends, they start laughing. They say, dude, you're a doctor. You went to school 15 years. You got 12 college degrees. You're a very educated man. What brought you into all this shamanism and all these other types of things, right? And I have to tell you that what brought me here was my journey when I was writing my book, The Hardcore Program. I researched the routines of over 300 people, the most successful people in the world. And I thought I was going to learn about all sorts of interesting things about how they manage their money and whatever, But the more I dug deeper into their routines, sure, a lot of them got up early in the morning. A lot of them ate really clean diets. They exercised. They did a lot of things that you would probably expect from someone that's really successful. But then I started reading a lot of interesting things that there was a very large spiritual component. A lot of people meditate. They go to church. They pray. And then I was reading about conferences with billionaires, and millionaires and stuff like that, where people were asking, okay, well, how many of you have tried ayahuasca? And everybody raised their hand. Or did hallucinogenics or mushrooms or LSD or stuff like that. Things I've never tried and knew very little about because I've never smoked marijuana. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a vegetarian 19 years. I don't even take aspirin or anything like that if I get a headache. So, I dug deeper, and like in everything else in life, you want to keep an open mind. Don't ever close yourself off to anything. A lot of us, we come up with concepts of things and we stereotype and whatever, and that's not good. That's going to limit you in your learning. So I started doing more research. I started reading about ayahuasca. I found in the National Institute of Health solid research from, PhDs at various universities around the world, actually, on mushrooms, on hallucinogenics, LSD, all this other stuff. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. In fact, some of these things, like mushrooms, have been approved by the VA, the Veterans Affairs hospitals, the military hospitals in the United States, to use for treatment on soldiers that have PTSD. So I started digging deeper into a lot of this stuff, and I started reading about shamanism. And I thought, shamanism? I thought that was like voodoo or something. So I thought, well, let me check it out. And one guy that I kept reading about, his name was Shaman Durek. So I found out about this guy, Shaman Durek, and I thought, okay, who's this guy? So I looked up his book. I read his book. It was excellent. I loved it. I read a lot of things about metaphysics and spirituality and all this other stuff. And this guy it was a really well-rounded book. I really enjoyed it. It taught me a lot. It was very perceptive. It taught me how to open my eyes to a lot of things. So I started researching this guy and I thought, wow, he's all over the place. He's all over Hollywood. He actually lives like 5-10 minutes from me. I live in Echo Park, which is just outside of Hollywood. He lives in Hollywood, here in Los Angeles. He sees a lot of the celebrities here, like Gwyneth Paltrow. He's married, or he's going to get married to the princess of Norway. Really interesting guy. I'll put some links in the bottom. You can see some of his shows. But I thought, okay, well, let me book a session with him. I looked him up. He charges $1,500 an hour. And I thought, wow, that's a lot. But I thought, hey, if it really helps, why not, right? So I thought, I'm gonna check it out. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. Before I do it, let me see if there's another shaman, because there's shamans all over the world. So I looked up, and sure enough, I found a shaman that lives maybe a mile from me here in Echo Park, Silver Lake. His name is Shaman Redwood Nabel. So I saw this guy, and I thought, hey, I'll try him out first and see how it goes, because I've never tried this before. It's kind of funky. I thought, maybe it'll just be a total waste of money. But he was like $50. I think he charges like $75 now per session. I booked it, and this guy was really good. Now, I can go into details about what exactly we did on another session, but he did all this chanting, he did all this energy work, and we did it over Zoom, okay? And I wasn't feeling real good. I was going through a breakup. I had several lawsuits pending. I had all kinds of stuff going on, and he gave me some really solid advice. I have a really strong legal team. I talk to them constantly about these, different legal issues that I have with, which is normal when you run a business. You have legal issues, right? And these guys are all really good attorneys. They've been practicing, 30, 40 years. And they told me, okay, you got to get started right away. You got to spend $100,000 and get started with this particular lawsuit I had with Farmers Insurance. And you gotta beat them to the punch and all this. And I thought, man, the last thing I need is another lawsuit. No one wins in lawsuits. It just takes a long time. It's just not very good. Shaman told me, don't do any of that stuff. Just kind of wait it out. He gave me a whole strategy, basically. Long story short, I did everything he told me, and it worked. And he told me the same thing with some other cases I had, some romantic issues I had. I mean, everything that he's told me has worked out really well for me. And he even told me one day when I called him, I had my sister call him. I had a couple of my friends call him, and they said, hey, this guy's great, man. He's very intuitive and he helps you out quite a bit. So he helped steer me in a different direction aside from where I was already heading with my research for my book, The Hardcore Program. Okay. So one of the things he taught me, and this is what I want to share with you today, is this ritual is to bring in abundance and help you resolve lawsuits. Okay. So he said, first you're going to do is you're going to get a brown candle. So brown candles are apparently for lawsuits. So you get a brown candle and you write on here resolved. All right. And this is going to be for lawsuits. It's going to help you resolve your lawsuits. And then you're also going to get a green candle and you're going to write resolved on there also. That's for abundance. That's going to help bring money to you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a piece of paper like this, and you're going to write exactly what you want on the piece of paper. In this situation, I want to settle some lawsuits that I have. So I'm going to write, they settled for a very reasonable amount. They settled and I'm happy with it. And I like to put a little happy face and I write my name. And then I visualize what's happening. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to visualize the case being resolved and how good I'm going to feel and the amount that's going to be like nothing what I expected. It's going to be super low. And for the one where I'm actually supposed to get something, I'm going to imagine that it's super high, much more than I expected. And then what you're going to do is you're going to light your candles. So you're going to light both your candles. I'm going to light my green candle. I'm going to light my brown candle, then my green candle. And be careful, because I actually had one of my houses burned down. So make sure you put the candle somewhere where it's not going to burn anything. So after you do your visualization, you're going to blow onto the paper and you're going to blow those thoughts out, and then you're going to burn it in the candles. All right. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to me when I did this. So let me go through with it. Again, I'm going to visualize that the case is resolved in my favor. Now I'm going to burn it. So while this burns, I'm going to tell you what the shaman told me. He started telling me, and I was like, wow, this sounds really funny. You know what he's telling me? He says, look, I was on the East Coast and I wanted to move to the West Coast, but I had no money. So he said he did this ritual and he asked for money. And he said he got a check in the mail for $10,000 with his name on it. He got this check, he cashed it, and it was good. So he moved to California. That's how he got to California, to LA. Then he says that while he was over here, he's like, whoa, I don't have any money. I got to rent an apartment. I got to pay a deposit. I got to do all this stuff. So what he did was he did the ritual again. He asked for more money. So then he said he got another check for $10,000. He got another check for $10,000, had his name on it, didn't say who it was from. He cashed it, and that's how he got started. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. So I've done this about 4 or 5 times, and every time I've done it, something has happened. All right. The first time I did it was really interesting. I had an account from Airbnb I had closed about 4 years ago. And as far as I know, it was closed and that's it. I all of a sudden got an email from Airbnb saying that they were depositing $1,400 into my bank account. And I thought, wow, $1,400, that's a lot. Out of nowhere, and from 4 years ago, that's pretty crazy. It was literally like the next day after I did this. So, could just be a coincidence, but that's honestly what happened to me. And every time I've done it, something like that has happened. I've gotten some abundance. And I've actually settled several lawsuits this year. I had one, a huge one, it was supposed to be for $5 million against me. I ended up settling with me paying the person $3,500. That's it, $3,500. So you can imagine from $5 million to $3,500. That feels pretty good. That's a very satisfying settlement, you know. So I've had really good success. In fact, I was in dinner during Christmas time with 3 of my friends, Dr. Vivian and Anita and Roseanne. And I told them the story, and they were just kind of like, well, okay. As far as I know, I was told that one of them tried it and had the same success. Something really good happened for her. So, you know, it sounds kind of quirky, but what I learned in this process of writing this book is a lot of these highly successful people in the world do these types of things. The reason being is because I think that the more successful you become, the more you realize that there's a divine force in the world, something that helps us, that helps push us forward, helps propel us. And you can actually use that energy for good to help you achieve things you want to do for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're keeping everything on the up and up and there's a positive spin to everything, I think it's good. So let me go into the next part. So first you do the candles, and then obviously you don't blow them out, you let them burn. And then you get a picture of this guy, Saint Expedite. So you put a picture of Saint Expedite up, and then you're going to pray to him every night while the candles are burning. So these are going to probably burn for like 2-3 days. I'll do it for the next 2-3 days. And I'll put the prayer down below. It's a Catholic prayer. And after you're done saying the prayer, you get a piece of cake and you throw it outside for the birds. Apparently he likes cake. So I always have something sweet. So I have some sweet crackers. So when I'm done with the prayer tonight, I'll throw it outside for the birds to come eat on it. Now again, it only takes a few minutes to do this. I think I do the prayer in like a minute or 2. And I've had great success. Ever since I learned this stuff, of course, this isn't everything, but I've had a really good year, and this stuff has really helped. So I just thought I'd share with you. And if you have any questions, you comment below and I'll answer it. And I actually include it in my hardcore program, this routine book for success and optimal health, because it's helped me in that way. So I want to make sure that other people have this available to them. So thank you for watching. And from Los Angeles, California, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thank you. Goodbye.